Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Me and a movie podcast where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I'm gonna give it to you anyways. I'm your host, Chase Lee, and hey, guys, listen, if you were searching on the internet for some random shit and you accidentally came across this podcast and you're not a movie fan, well, shit, maybe I can convince you to be one. If you are new to this show, welcome. Hopefully I didn't scare you off too badly with my ugly-ass mug, but if you are a returning listener or a watcher on YouTube, thank you for doing that. And speaking of that, if you're watching on YouTube and you want an audio-only version of the podcast, link will be in the description below. And if you're watching or if you're listening on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, iTunes, what have you, and you want a video version and you want to see this ugly mug, it's totally up to you. I'm not going to force you into it. Then the link will be in the description below. Now, if you are new to the show, welcome once again. And what we do on this show is I will go over some movie news that drop throughout the week. I will go over some trailers that drop throughout the week. And I will have reviews of movies coming out on the weekend that I record, and of course, the box office results for the weekend. And this week, guys, for episode 133, I'm going to review Warcraft and The Conjuring 2. Couldn't be any more different than what they are. You know, you have a fantasy film that's based on a very popular video game, and then you have a sequel to one of a very popular surprise in 2013. So I'm looking forward to reviewing both of these. It's going to get interesting. So that's all I'm going to say. So before we begin, how you guys doing? You guys doing pretty good? It's been kind of a slow week, but I was looking forward to this weekend and the movies coming out and stuff. So hopefully you guys saw some greatness. And I finished Bloodline Season 2 on Netflix. It is a very dope show. Check that out. And then I'm currently watching Entourage because I like it. So, there's really nothing more to say. I love it, actually. I love me some Entourage. All right, so without any further ado, let's begin this shit. All right, so let's move on to some movie news that dropped. It was kind of a slow news week, guys, and a slow trailer week. I'm just going to give you guys a foreshadow right here. It's going to be very quick throughout the news and the trailers to get to the reviews. It's just, I don't know what it was with this week, but there was just nothing. Like, this might be one of the shortest episodes I ever do by myself, which, by the way, I did try to get a guest. He could not do it, but I will get him eventually because he's one of the critics in Dallas, and I respect him a lot. And the reason I respect him is because we disagree on a lot of movies, which would be great to argue back and forth on air. So let's do some movie news by myself, just me, myself, and I. The first piece of news is that Josh Brolin, he's being, I think he was interviewed for one, like a special feature or maybe the Blu-ray release for Hail Caesar. I completely forgot, but he was asked the question, what do you think of Infinity War? Like, are you excited to play Thanos and actually have like a prominent role instead of being like a 2-bit cameo in 2 end credit scenes or like a small role in Guardians? Like, are you ready to fucking play this character? And Brolin said that he read the script. And he said he really liked it and stuff. And he's looking forward to having Thanos take on everyone. And that's just amazing to hear. But when people read these quotes, they're like, "Oh my god!" Like these actors are so excited to do the movie. Well, it's like, no shit. What are they gonna say? Like, "Oh man, that script fucking sucked, guys. You better watch out." No, it's their job to kind of promote it. But the way he kind of phrased it, it made it seem more genuine and stuff. And I actually got really even more pumped to see this movie. Having Thanos take over all the Avengers and stuff from all the way up until this point, it's going to be mind-boggling to sit in that theater and realize that we spent so many years of our lives dedicated to this cinematic universe, and it's going to end. That storyline is going to end, and it's going to be magical. So, yeah, the fact that Josh Brolin wrote the script, it makes it more real. It makes it more like within arm's reach. Like, they are going to be filming I think it's later this year, and they're going to be filming for like 9 months, and it's going to be insane. And that there's going to be a bunch of like photos and shit that leak from the set, or something's going to leak from the set. And I may or may not talk about it depending on how spoilerish it may be. But the fact that they're getting all the actors starting to read the script and get ready for the roles and stuff, I am so fucking excited for it. Avengers: Infinity War, bring it on, baby! All right. The next piece of news is that this is no shocker, but Suicide Squad got the PG-13 rating, and kind of expected that. A lot of people were saying that, it might get an R rating because of how dark and disturbing it can be. That was not going to happen. First point is that Warner Brothers cannot risk this movie. Batman v Superman, regardless if you like it or not, was a very divisive movie. I personally liked it, but I understand why people did not. And so people are very skeptical of Suicide Squad. So if you bump it up to an R rating, you're going to restrict audiences and stuff, and it might tank in the box office. I don't know, but the fact that Warner Bros. Is coming out with an R-rated Batman v Superman cut and stuff, it kind of, it shows us that it can be done. And if it actually works out very well and it's received very well, then, Warner Bros. Might pursue R ratings in the future. But having a Suicide Squad PG-13, guys, do not be disappointed. Do not fret. Do not cry yourself to sleep that night or tonight or whatever. Everything will be fine. I think they're going to be pushing that PG-13 rating, which is great. Like, you want to have as many eyes on this, film as possible, but you want to push those limits because Joker's going to be in there, Harley Quinn is in there, and they are very psychologically fucked up. So you need that in there. You can't hold back. You have to just go for it. But knowing that the MPAA rating system in America is extremely fucked up, it makes perfect sense to me that they would. It's probably like really dark and disturbing, by the way. And when you watch the movie, it's probably gonna be like, you're like, oh my God, that could have been rated R. But here in America, if you were one of my listeners overseas, what we do is completely ass backwards from everyone else. And we actually favor violence over a nipple or sex, which makes no fucking sense to me. So you're telling me nudity, which is like, I don't know, very common and basic among the human species and sexual nature as well. So you're telling me that is taboo, but violence and all this graphic shit is not. It's fucking ridiculous. So Suicide Squad being PG-13, just trust me, it's going to be like extremely graphic. They're going to be pushing that rating and stuff. But if Harley Quinn shows a nip slip or if she has like a wet t-shirt on, God forbid the MPA is going to have a fucking heart attack in like their little like screening room. And they're just going to be like seizing up on the floor and stuff. And it's like, just calm down, grandma. It's going to be okay. You have a tit too. And then they realize that they have tits. And then they have another heart attack. It's like, oh my God, I have nudity. I'm nude under these clothes. Like, it's fucking boggling. So, yeah, all you people over there that are overseas that listen to the show, you guys have the better rating system. I'd rather be over there where you're like, ooh, violence. That's kind of, I don't want to show people that. Nudity and sex, whatever. But, like, us, it's like, God forbid we show a ball sack or some underboob. You got World War III going on. So, yeah, Suicide Squad PG-13 doesn't bother me one bit. I kind of expected it to be, even though I'm really excited for the R-rated cut for Batman v Superman. So the next piece of news is that, speaking of comic book movies, since the first two were comic book related, because that's what all the news is nowadays. You see the Star Wars or comic book stuff. Toby Kebbell, who played Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four, which is one of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen, he said that there is a darker, better cut of Fantastic Four that you are not going to see. And that kind of makes me really sad, actually, because Josh Trank, right before the movie came out, he tweeted, like, there was a darker version and a better version of this movie that you're never going to see and stuff. And then he deleted it. But, the internet does not delete stuff. They just multiply, like goddamn bunnies, in the garden, just having a fucking field day with rabbit sex, bunny sex. So I'm really kind of disappointed that 20th Century Fox won't release like a director's cut or something of Fantastic Four. Because the thing is with that movie, when I was sitting in that theater and I realized that, okay, the screening's the day before the release, that's kind of a bad sign. As the movie started, I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. I don't understand what the critics are like ripping this a new asshole for. Then we get into the Seknak, and it's like, okay, it's still not like god awful. What are they talking about? And then in the movie, once they go to 1 year later and they time jump, that's when it starts going down the shitter. And it looks like, studio hands were meddling in there, and they just that was their whole goal, was to dip their little greasy, greedy hands in there and just fuck everything up. And it's like, gross. Go wash your hands. It's too greasy. So the whole third act just falls apart flat on its fucking face. And it's just, it was just amazing to watch like this movie that wasn't that bad just dive into a fucking, train wreck. It was just incredible. So the fact that Trank has said this and the fact that Kebbell has said this, 20th Century Fox, if you want to like rebound off of this franchise that you have failed multiple times at, release this cut. Why are they so adamant on saying that there was a darker, better cut? Just fucking release it. Do like you don't do it now, but like just in the future, do like a director's cut or something, and like you get people's interest back in this franchise, because people with Fantastic Four, they're fucking checked out, man. They do not give a shit anymore. And after walking out of that movie, I was like, guys, as a superhero movie fanatic, that movie was balls. Like it was just a humongous ball sack that just slapped me in my face, and I was like, whoa, 20th Century Fox, can you like zip your pants up? Like it was not that good, but I really want to see this cut now, because now this is the second person that has come forward and said it. So 20th Century Fox, if you're fucking listening to this, I want to see that cut. I want to see what the hell they're talking about. So, there's that. So that's the third piece of news, and the last piece of news, because we talked about comic book movies and we got really jazzed up and we got really excited with our geek boners popping through our pants. Now let's scale back and let's talk about religion. Passion of the Christ 2 was announced, and Mel Gibson wants to come back and direct it. Okay, I gotta be honest with you guys. I've never seen the first Passion of the Christ. It came out when I was in 8th grade. Still haven't seen it. So it's been a long fucking time since it came out in theaters, and it is I think it's still the highest grossing R-rated movie worldwide, and Deadpool is right under it, which is hilarious, by the way, because it's like, oh, Passion of the Christ. It's like, oh yeah, it's a very heartfelt and like gut-wrenching movie, and then like the second place is Deadpool. So it's quite a contrast, and right below that I think is American Sniper. But Passion of the Christ, the sequel, they said it was gonna concentrate on the resurrection, and that makes sense. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of religious movies. I'm not the target audience for it, but I have found myself to enjoy some of these movies that have come out. Like I saw Risen with my mom earlier this year, and she's a church-going woman, and she likes religious movies, and she liked Risen a lot. I did too, actually. I thought it was a pretty well-told movie. But then on the flip side, you have movies like Son of God, where I thought that one was garbage. So it just depends, and I don't view it from a story or factual base. I view these movies as a critic and as a storyteller and a filmmaker. Was it constructed properly? That's how I review any type of movie. And so it's not just because I'm harping on religious movies. I like plenty of them. I thought Darren Aronofsky's rendition of Noah was pretty good. Like I said, Risen was pretty good. Oh man, what else? Because before Son of God, there was like something else. I forgot what it was, but I thought that one was pretty decent too. It's escaping me. There's like 20 or 30 religious based movies like every single year. It's just mind-boggling how many they can churn out. But as far as the sequel goes, it makes sense. Not only was it really high in profits and stuff for the first one, having it told through the resurrection is smart, because the first one was about the crucifixion. Here's the problem, though, is that Mel Gibson since then, has been caught in his personal dirty laundry with the phone calls and the voicemails and stuff. And regardless of what you think of Mel Gibson as a human being, he as a director is pretty damn awesome. Like when you think of Braveheart or Apocalypto, Passion of the Christ, these are all epically told films and stories. The guy's pretty magnificent as a storyteller. Like, so not only is he like a pretty good actor, he's a damn good director. So regardless of what you think, set the personal laundry aside, he's pretty good at what he does. Now, him doing a sequel to this, I think makes total sense. Passion of the Christ was made on a dime budget. It made like 700 something million worldwide. It's insane how much it made. So having him come back and do a sequel and having it concentrate on the resurrection, that makes sense to me. However, on the other flip side, it's a little too late. The first Passion of the Christ, like I said, I was in 8th grade, so what was that? 2003, so it's 13 years. That's kind of a long gap. So I don't know if it's too late, but I do know this. Since religious movies are on the rise right now, maybe it can probably fit into the schedule very comfortably, because let's face it, if religious-based movies were not as big as they are today, then having the sequel come out today would probably be a bad idea. But the fact that religious-based movies are kind of like on this high rise right now, it makes total sense to do a Passion of the Christ sequel. So yeah, money-wise makes sense. Story-wise, it makes sense for the resurrection. So I'm okay with it, actually. I might even check out the first one to, I guess, get ready for it. But yeah, that is one of those movies that I missed, and I just remember all the controversy around it and stuff. So I will check it out eventually. So that's it for the movie news, guys. I know, kind of a really like weird news week. It's just a bunch of people talking like with quotes and rumors and shit. So yeah, it's just kind of a slow news week. So that's it for the movie news, guys. What was your favorite piece of news this week? I mean, for me, it's got to be Josh Brolin reading that Infinity War script, man. Just gets me more pumped for it. I'm excited to end this storyline and be on this epic journey with all these characters that we've started with in 2008 with Iron Man. So that would be my top one. Now, moving on to the trailer that came out this week. Believe it or not, all the trailers that came out this week were from really small indie movies. I'm talking about movies that are so obscure, I didn't even know they fucking existed. Now, usually I'll review indie movie trailers on here if it's got, some stars in it, or like if it looks interesting or whatever. But like some of the trailers that got released this week were just so small. Like they weren't even on my radar. So like there's no reason to bring it on you guys' radar, because I don't even think they're going to get a theatrical release or anything. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, I don't even think they're going to get VOD. So, like, that's what I'm saying. It was kind of a weird week for trailers. But there was one trailer that dropped. Now, guys, I realize I've been doing this for 133 episodes, and sometimes I'll break the mold. I don't have to talk about movies all the time. I can dip into, streaming service announcements or, television if it's, like, really big news. So I usually don't do that every week, but like say for instance, like True Detective season 2 trailer dropped, talked about it. Daredevil season 2 trailer, talked about it. I will do it for like bigger hit shows, not just every show. So there was a trailer that dropped for a Netflix original series called Stranger Things. Now it stars Winona Ryder, and I'm not even joking. You can watch the trailer or you don't have to, but I can tell you this: the trailer was enough tease for me to go, I'm in. I don't need to know any fucking more from this series. I don't want to watch any more trailers. I marked down the date of when all the episodes are streaming and stuff, so I'm ready to fucking go. Now, watching the trailer, I can tell you the basis of the story, which is what the trailer gives, and it's a perfect amount. There's a kid that gets that disappears from this town or whatever, and they have to go basically find him and find out if it was like a supernatural thing, or if it was like a government thing or whatever. It was really fascinating to watch, and it kind of reminded me of like a mixture of E.T. and Super 8 and just like every single conspiracy like movie or TV show like all combined into one, and it looks awesome. I like the way it looks. I like the way it felt in the trailer. It was very suspenseful. It just had you on edge. You're like, well, what the hell is going to happen and shit? So watching that trailer, looking at the posters and stuff, this is one of those Netflix series that I will definitely want to check out. Since I'm done with House of Cards, done with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, all that stuff, I have nothing to watch, and Bloodline. So I have nothing to watch on Netflix right now. So I need something, and this one looks really cool. So that's all I'm going to say. Watch the trailer and judge for yourself. But I don't want to say any more, because it's one of those things where I would rather you go in blind than know everything. So that's the trailer that came out this week, guys. That's it for all the trailers that came out this week. So have you seen the Stranger Things trailer? Comment in the place where I'm on face and let me know. All right, so let's move on to the meat of the podcast, the entree. The appetizers are out of the way. It was like a light salad. Now we're going to get into the fucking meat. We're going to get into that steak, that beautiful juicy steak. We're going to surf and turf this week with 2 movies: Warcraft and The Conjuring 2. Now, I'm going to review Warcraft first, and I'm going to let you guys know that I loved one of these movies, and I hated the other. So since I'm starting out with Warcraft, which way do you think I'm going to swing? That's not really sexual. All right, anyways, let's review Warcraft first. So, Warcraft. Okay. I think judging by the way my face looks on YouTube and the sound of my voice right now, you guys are like, oh shit, I know which one this one is. So Warcraft is based on God, it's like a fucking dirty sock was in my mouth. World of Warcraft is a online computer game, and you connect over the internet and stuff, and you can play with a lot of people and stuff. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I played World of Warcraft for about 2 minutes. I'm not even joking. I created a character and everything, played for 2 minutes. I got fucking bored. I was like, I need to do this shit. I had like a little fucking midget like running around in the snow, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to playing Halo. So yeah, I played for a total of 2 minutes and stuff. So I'm not that well versed into the game or whatever. So I go into this, just looking at it as a movie. Now, I got a friend that I used to live with in college, and he played World of Warcraft like no one's fucking business, to a point where like he would get his Diet Mountain Dews, get a fucking sandwich, and go back to his computer chair and not do his homework for school or anything. He played World of Warcraft. Like, I get it. It's an addicting game. And, my roommate now, he plays League of Legends. I totally get that shit. I never got into it because I guess I'm a fucking noob and idiot or whatever the hell the term is nowadays. I haven't played games in a while. So I went into Warcraft kind of excited, actually, because it's directed by Duncan Jones. He directed Moon in 2009, and that was such a out of left field movie that no one saw coming. And when you saw it, you're like, wow, it felt realistic. It felt grounded. It was really well acted by Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey. It had a really interesting like sci-fi twist to it. Like, it was just really fun to watch. And it was made on a dime budget. And then, he did Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal. I really like that movie. I don't like love it, but I really enjoy it and I really like it. And once again, that has like a kind of like a science fiction-y twist at the end as well and stuff. And it's really cool. So I was really looking forward to Warcraft because it's like, oh shit, they're gonna get the director for Moon and have him helm like a big budgeted movie. And I'm just curious to see how he does it. I gotta tell you, this was the one I hated out of the two this weekend. I did not care for Warcraft whatsoever. Now, this movie's getting a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people really like it and stuff. A lot of people are kind of so-so with it. And there's a couple people I found online that actually do hate it. I don't like loathe the thing, but I don't like this movie whatsoever. So let's get real and break this down, and I'm going to explain why. All right, let's start with the directing and writing. Now, as far as the direction goes, I can see that Duncan Jones was trying. I saw that he had a concept of the game, and he put it on screen the best he could do and try to create this massive world and cram it into 2 hours. I get that. But I felt like there was a lot missing from this movie. And I don't know if it was studio hands dipping their little greasy, fat fucking sausage fingers in there in that pot and stirring it around. I don't know what they were doing. But as the movie kept going, you felt like there was pieces missing. I don't know if it was Duncan Jones's decision or if it was the studio's decision, but between each scene, it would transition with a fucking fade to black and then fade back up every single fucking time. And that is like a clear indication that something was missing. I don't know what the fuck was missing, but something was missing. So the story felt super jaded and it just felt like it was going all over the place. The story itself is fine. I don't have a problem with the story. I understood the story. But on the flip side to that, there were too many fucking characters. There were too many things going on to where you needed to cut some fucking characters out. And some of the things felt like it was fan service. Like, oh, look, there's a guy that can do wizardy magic tricks like fucking Gandalf or Dumbledore over there. Like, and it's like, well, he's just kind of doing his thing and like it's not really serving anything or serving the story well or anything. It's just there. I just felt like there were things in there that were just placed in there for fan service. So that's the second strike. And the third fucking strike has to do with the directing and the writing. I never felt like I was there. I never once felt like I was in Azeroth or wherever the fuck it was at. Every single set piece looked fake as shit. Like, I do not understand. When your movie cost $170 million and you look like you're in fucking Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse on every single fucking set that they were in and every scene that they were in. It was either heavily CGI'd and green screened, which I can forgive, or it was actually on a practical set where it looked like they stumbled into a fucking attraction at Disney World. I don't understand when you had that much money in your budget to make everything look so goddamn fake. It makes no sense to me. So there are your 3 strikes for the writing and directing. It was jumbled and it was jaded. You can tell there was stuff missing from the fades and shit. Too many characters. And if you're not a hardcore gamer, some of this stuff might fly past you. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not stupid. But, and hey, maybe I am, but like there was a lot of things that came at me and just kind of flew over my head, and like they would come back later in the movie like, I fucking forgot your name, bro. Like it was just too much shit going on. And the third thing, like I said, I never believed once I was there. The sets were too set-like. It looked like a TV show. And I was like, I cannot believe that Game of Thrones can have a 10-episode season and have each episode cost $10 million, which makes their whole season $100 million. $100 million for 10 hours worth of content, and yet their shit looks better. And I've only seen 3 episodes of that show. Like, I do not understand, like, why did they not put that much effort into making it look more realistic and felt like you could be transported into that world. Never once felt that. But every time when the orcs were on screen and their kind of world or whatever, because it was like 99% CGI, I liked it. I actually felt like I was there in those parts, and I thought the way the orcs looked really cool. There was so much detail in their face. I could feel every single emotion and stuff from the main orc played by Toby Kebbell. You see how I tied that in from the news. So besides that orc, no one else really had emotion or anything. But like for him specifically, I could feel it in that detail and the way they looked and just their environment and stuff. I love that stuff. And that's like the only compliment I can give this movie. Because let's move on to acting. I don't even know what accent that was. Let's move on to acting. Okay. I will say this once and I'll say it again. I love to death Ben Foster. I love him to death. The first time I ever saw him was in Hostage, the Bruce Willis movie, and I thought he was fucking spectacular in that because he was creepy as shit, and I was like, who is that guy? I want to see more of him. And then, of course, he was in X-Men The Last Stand. He played Angel. Don't really care for that and stuff. And he's done a lot of smaller movies where he just fucking delivers every single time. He will just blow you away with his talent and be like, why isn't this guy more shit? Ben Foster was awful in this movie. And there was certain going along with the story, his arc in the movie, at the very end, you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this goes back to the whole too much thing. Like, something happens at the end where, like, I'm going to try my very best not to spoil this movie or The Conjuring 2, so, just bear with me. But, like, there's something at the end that happens with this character, like, why did they go down that route? Like, I don't understand it. It just felt like Ben Foster was, like, in a different movie, and he never felt like he was in sync with any of the other characters at all. Dominic Cooper, didn't like him. I didn't like anyone in this movie, except for Toby Kebbell. He plays the main orc. Forgot his name. I apologize. But he grounded the movie for me. And he was a fucking orc. He wasn't even a human. He had more emotion in his performance capture and his just the way he moved. I felt like he was a very heavy orc going through the situation. I understood why he didn't want to go through certain things and whatnot. So Toby Kebbell was the standout for me, but everyone else was either flat or they just didn't work or they didn't fit in there. Like they were just, like I said, they got costumes from like medieval times and they went through, like another theme park, and then they eventually got to the set. And it's just, I didn't believe anyone. Everyone was really dry or flat or just flat out awful and stuff. But Toby Kebbell was the standout. I will say that. Cinematography wise, this is where I'll give it a slight thumbs up. The sets looked awful, but all the orc stuff and the villages and stuff and the way it looked dirty and it looked really grungy and stuff, I love that stuff. It was very bright and colorful and the colors popped really well. It was a nice contrast in the battle scenes and whatnot. And the battle scenes were okay at best. I'm not going to say like they were, the standout either, but they were enjoyable to watch. But like, out of almost 2.5 hour long movie, I don't fucking remember most of the movie, and the battle scenes were one of them. But anyways, the cinematography looks really good. I do like the way it was shot with the orcs and stuff. But as far as like the sets go, like I said, it just looked too much like a set. Took me out of it. So those aren't shot very well. Editing wise and special effects, movie's way too long. You need to cut some shit back. Because like I said, there's just too much going on. And for someone that doesn't play World of Warcraft, you are trying to target me, not the fans. You're trying to target me. That way, if I love it, I will look forward to a sequel. Because we are the 99%. Now, the 1% are the people that go to movies all the time and they play World of Warcraft. I just go to movies all the time. I don't play that game. So it did not win me over when you cram all this shit in, and some of it just doesn't really make any sense when you kind of wrap up the movie towards the end and whatnot, to where I'm just like, it felt long. It felt like a tedious chore to keep up with, like everything that was spout out, all the information. You're like, oh fuck, I forgot who that guy's name, and like what the hell's going on over here. It's too much. And once again, I might be stupid. I might just be a fucking flat out idiot and I don't understand any of it. But for just watching it, you get lost as someone that does not play the game. And it really slows down the movie. And like I said, all the jarring with the plot points and the storytelling, you fade out, fade in every single time it transitioned. What the hell? That's like amateur filmmaker stuff. And it's like, Duncan Jones, you're so much better than that. I love Moon so much. So the editing is just super choppy all throughout, and it's just a chore to sit through. Visual effects wise, like I said, the battle scenes were okay, but the orcs looked really good, and their villages looked really good. Like I said, the crisp, clear detail, I could see like the wrinkles in their skin. It was that good. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it was weird that they went all CGI and they looked super awesome, and then the sets looked really cheap. Maybe that's where most of their money went, was the mocap and stuff. But guys, overall, I do not like this movie one bit. I don't loathe it because guess what? I don't want to talk about it ever again, and I don't want to see it ever again. So when you have a choppy story, there's too much information for average moviegoers to just kind of grasp and really retain and be entertained by. Like I said, some of this stuff doesn't really make any sense in the movie, and like I said, it just feels like they crammed too much. The performances were all bad. I never believed once I was there, but the visuals looked pretty good, and the battle scenes were okay. Guys, I do not recommend this movie. Is it my top 10 worst of the year? Maybe, but I don't make that list. So I'm going to tell you that it was a severe disappointment because I was actually looking forward to it because I love me some Duncan Jones. But as far as this movie goes, I wouldn't recommend this for a matinee. Maybe when it comes out in Redbox or cable, check that out if you're bored. But as a fan of the game, please let me know what you thought of it down below, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you found something in it that was good because you were used to the content stuff. I am not, but as a story and as a film, I've got to tear it apart because it's just flat out awful. I don't like it whatsoever. But with the visuals being good, and I will give them credit on that because it did look very good on that mocap, I'm going to give Warcraft a D+. Guys, I'll say it. It's one of the worst of the year for me. Maybe because I was looking forward to it, and it's just severe disappointment all over the place. And this is just another movie where people are going to look at me and go, really, Ben Foster is actually that good? And I'm like, yes, you have to believe me. This guy's a fucking talent. He just picks the wrong blockbusters, and it kind of irritates me. Like, he was better in The Finest Hours earlier this year. That's what I'm saying. Like, movies like that and Hostage and stuff, the guy is a class act. He can act. But this movie just kind of sets him back a little bit. So what did you guys think of Warcraft? Am I wrong? Do you want to call me a fucking idiot in the comments or whatever? I accept it. Please, let's have a discussion if you really liked it, because I want to know why. Maybe I was just crabby that day. I have no fucking clue. I might check it out in the future, but as of right now, I'm going to say no, and I wouldn't really recommend it in theaters. So did you like Warcraft? Did you hate it or whatever? Comment place on my face and let me know. So that's movie number 1, guys. Out of the way. Let's do it. So The Conjuring 2. I just got back from it, and just give you guys a little kind of prep for the movie. I did see the first one in theaters in 2013. I really enjoyed it. And I was like, this is so creepy. This is so James Wan. I cannot wait to see what they do with the sequel, even though at this point, James Wan was not set to return. Because after The Conjuring, he's like, I'm not doing any more horror movies. So he went on to do Furious 7. Now he's doing Aquaman and stuff, but he snuck in The Conjuring 2 in between. So he comes back and he's like, I'm gonna direct the sequel. I'm like, well, fuck yeah, man. I love you, James. Let's do this. Like, I've been following James Wan very creepily, like a stalker. I'm kidding. Or am I? No, I've been following his work for 12 years now, ever since he came out with the first Saw. I love Saw. I actually like the whole franchise, by the way, so fucking fight me on it. But as far as the first one goes, it is the one that people remember, and that is the one that him and Lee Winnell did, and I love the first Saw. I like Dead Silence a lot. I think it's a really just kind of like creepy puppet movie or whatever, and I'm totally fine with it. It's not like my favorite of his, but I like it enough. Death Sentence is a really cool revenge flick with Kevin Bacon, so check it out if you haven't checked it out. And then, of course, James Wan does Insidious 2, and The Conjuring, and he's produced, like Annabelle. He's producing that Lights Out movie coming out in a couple months, or I think it's next month, actually. So I was really looking forward to The Conjuring 2. Like I said, I've liked every single movie that he's either produced or directed up until this point. I have not seen Annabelle. I hear that's the kind of the worst one out of the bunch, but I haven't seen it, so I can't judge it. As far as everything I've seen from him, because he even produced Insidious 3, and I love Insidious 3. He didn't direct it, but he produced it. It's got his stamp all over it. But The Conjuring 2 was pretty fucking amazing. I love this movie from start to finish, and I only have, to be honest with you, one gripe. Just one gripe about it. Maybe two, but I've kind of forgiven the second one as I was kind of like driving home thinking about it. But there's one thing that kind of just like bugged the shit out of me. I'm not going to say what it is because it'll be a spoiler, but I'm going to kind of just, when I'm talking about the writing and stuff, I'll kind of do my best to kind of explain what I mean. So, yeah, overall, this is an awesome sequel. It's a great follow-up to The Conjuring, and I think they're both on the same level, to be honest with you, The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. So, with that being said, let's get real and break this down. Start with the directing and writing. Once again, holy shit. James Wan knows how to direct horror. If I had to pick three people, three directors that were masters at doing horror films, James Wan would be up there. And you're like, really? Like, out of all of them? Like, you would pick him? And it's like, yeah, I would. Ever since Insidious, James Wan has this really unique kind of classic feel for a horror film. Because most, besides Insidious, like The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 are set in different decades and stuff, and they're not in modern time. And I felt like I was transported into the 70s, like sitting there in the theater, like in the 70s, going, I'm going to watch this, this movie or whatever. And it felt so old school and just feels real, feels authentic and stuff. Even with it being like about exorcisms and, demons and stuff, I still feel grounded when I watch his movies because of the way he shoots his horror and the way he edits scenes together and the way he, misguides you. And he's like, there's a scare that's about to happen over here. Whip the camera around the turn, the person goes with the camera. Oh shit, it's on the other side actually. So he misguides people a lot. He really just makes you feel tense and he makes you feel all that dread and suspense the entire fucking time while watching it. The whole time I was kind of like squirming in my chair because I'm like, you son of a bitch, James Wan, you crafty bastard. Like, you're going to trick me into a few things. And he does. And there's a couple scares that caught me off guard. And I was like, damn, James, good for you. But what I really like about James Wan's directing style is that he always brings a fresh take to it. When you look at the first Conjuring, the first Insidious Chapter 2 or Insidious Chapter 3, every single time they try to create a sequence to like scare the living shit out of you, it is told differently. It is told in a new way and a new spin. And it's like, I never would have even thought of doing that type of shot or that type of angle, or the fact that you're following these characters around like in this dreamlike state and you're really kind of like drawing these scenes out, making it feel even more horrific and stuff. Like, he always keeps his movies fresh, and all these scares and these terrors that happen in his movies, they're always fresh and they never get old. Never. like when you show me one of his movies, I can tell you some of the tropes that he does. Once again, the camera shifting. If you have a character looking into a mirror and you know there's something behind her, she hears a noise or whatever, and the camera, turns with her, goes back to the camera. Oh, there's a demon there. And then you turn back. Oh, the demon's gone. You turn back a third time. The demon's in the mirror a little closer. She goes back a fourth time, and she comes back, and the demon's actually in front of her. It's stuff like that like it catches you off guard. You know it's going to happen. But the way it is shot and the way it is edited and the way the music and the sound design all come together make a horrific, terrifying experience that James Wan can do. Not many horror directors can really kind of put you in that experience and make you feel that dread and make you feel that suspense. James Wan is one of those guys. And as far as the story goes, I thought it was really well constructed. I was on my edge the entire time. James Wan, once again, sticks his hand through the screen, grabs me by the throat, and goes, "I will not let go. You will watch my movie. Be scared, motherfucker." And I'm just like, I am scared, James. I am scared. Oh, I just shit myself. Thank you. So from start to finish, I thought it was entertaining. It was enthralling. Just the way the cinematography looks and the way it feels, and just those colors that James Wan always brings out. Every time when there's a nighttime scene in a house that he's shooting, it's got the dark blues or whatever and the blacks and the crushed blacks and whatnot. It is insane how much of a mood and an environment it kind of sets. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, James mixes, the sound design and the music and the cinematography and the way it looks and the brilliant acting. And it all comes together for such a kind of like fresh, unique take on the horror genre. It kind of blows my mind that he's one of the few guys in Hollywood that actually care about this fucking genre, and he wants to see it succeed by putting his stamp on it and making each movie that he does something different. This is no different. And as far as the writing goes, like I said, I really liked the story quite a bit. I thought it was really intriguing to go to England this time. And as far as like Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I thought their characters progressed very nicely from the first one, and you can kind of see the wear and tear on their faces, and it's like they do not want to do this shit anymore, but like they realize that they need to help out these families and whatnot because there's kids involved, and they have a kid of their own, and you could feel that and stuff. And I just felt like there was a lot more growth between both of them and stuff, and they are the heart. They are the heart and soul of this entire franchise because they are the ears to the ground, if you will. They are the people that are normal. They aren't possessed or whatever. So they're us. They're us going through this movie and experiencing it through their eyes. And that's what I really like about the Warrens. And there's a lot of sweet and tender moments too. I was actually really surprised that there's a lot of like romantic gestures and a lot of like really good chemistry between Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga that I found kind of unexpected, but I found really kind of charming at the same time, because it's like, even though these two go through so much shit together, you can see that they're both human and they both love each other, and they want to support each other, and just they're in this together. And there's just something kind of charming about that. I really like it. And then of course the end of the movie, James Wan doesn't misdirect like he always does. The climax happens, whatever, and then it comes back up, and there's a few more scenes or whatever. So all that being said, here's the one con for the movie. There's something that happens at the very end of the movie where when it happens, it feels like it was abrupt. It felt like it took the story and like put it on a halt and put it in this weird direction. And literally moments later, they were, back to doing what they were doing. Like I said, this is really hard to discuss because I don't want to spoil anything, but there was something that happens where it happened and I was like, okay. And then I went along with it. And then moments later, we were back to the action. I was like, well, what was the point of that? I was just kind of confused and wondering, like, why was that necessary? The movie is over 2 hours long. You could have cut that scene out and it would have made a difference. So I really don't know. I don't know why it was in there, but like I said, if you've seen it, we can discuss it like in a private message or something. But like, there was one particular thing where it happened story-wise to weirdly move it off in a different direction, but still continuing to move it forward. But it didn't really make a difference in the long run, anyways. So I was like, Okay, so yeah, besides that, story-wise, it's brilliant. I liked it from start to finish. It's very entertaining and very, very creepy. But that one element, that one thing that happens in the plot, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Thanks, James. Like, I love you, man, but no. So other than that, the directing and writing are very superb. Acting, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga know what they're doing by now. They really click into the Warrens, and they, like I said, they have that vulnerability to them, to where you know that they are scared every single time they go into a house and they investigate a case. And but you can see that confidence and you can see that drive for them to solve these murders and these mysteries and stuff. And like it's just really cool to kind of see them get into their character and just they really envelop the Warrens and stuff. And so I really like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. As far as everyone else is fine. But the kids, especially the main little girl that gets possessed by the spirit, dude, she was really fucking good. Every time when she was, being all innocent and scared and stuff, believed it. Every time when she was being possessed and she looked really creepy as shit and she was talking in her demonic voice, I believed it. At the very end when like shit's going down, I believed it. She was a really good actress, and that's what I really like about James Wan's directing, is that he can bring these performances out of these actors, and he's not half-assing it. He's really trying, and he's getting the best he can get out of these actors. So yeah, overall the acting's fine. But Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, and the little girl, the main little girl, amazing. Cinematography-wise, once again, listen. If you guys don't know how directing works, a director primarily works on the actors, and they get the best performances out of their actors. I have a weird, strange feeling. This is just a really strong fucking hunch that James Wan does his shots as well. Now, he doesn't actually like physically shoot the camera, like shoot the shots, but I will bet money on it that he constructs the shots with the DP, because every single one of his movies have his stamp on it. And I'm like, there's no way that's all the cinematographer's brain power at work when you're talking about these camera, pans or whatever that, reveal a scare, or like when it's lingering in this dreamlike state in the living room and you have these deep, rich colors from the blues and the blacks and stuff and really create like this haunted house, creepy ass environment and just like put you in the movie. There's no way the DP and the lighter do all of that. James Wan's got to do some input, because like I said, most of his movies all look the same. There's no way that he's gotten the same DP for all of them. And if he has, like, there's no way he's just like, all right, I need this scene, and they just do it. I'll guarantee you that he maps them out too, and he does the scares accordingly to how he's going to time it in the editing and how the sound design is going to play and how the music's going to play and stuff. So the cinematography, once again, it's just gorgeous. James Wan, he knows how to shoot a film. And the thing is, like, every time when he shoots a horror film, they're so beautiful and so, like I said, they're very calming but disturbing at the same time. Calming meaning, like, most of his cinematography is like I said, it's on a monopod, so it's like very dreamlike. You feel like you're like in this really neat, soft environment and stuff, but there's something creepy and disturbing around every single corner. And that's what I really love about the way he shoots his films. Really put you into the experience. Editing and special effects. Editing-wise, besides that one little element in the story, I think it's actually paced out pretty damn well, especially for being over 2 hours. I was hooked from start to finish, and that might be because I'm a fanboy of James, but his movies, even if you're not like that really hot on horror films, he does create like a lot of suspense to his movies, and I can see anyone just kind of sitting there and enjoying his movies, because it is a thrill ride. It is an experience and stuff. So I was enthralled from start to finish. That was paced out very, very well, besides that one story element, and I was into that movie from front to back. Special effects wise, this is another thing James Wan does really with those movies, the practical effects. And I'm sure they use some digital and stuff, but the practical effects from all the demons that he has in his movies and these spirits and stuff, they're so fucking creepy. And speaking on the other side of Warcraft, where they use practical sets and it looks like a Broadway set, The Conjuring 2 uses practical effects like with the demons and the makeup and stuff, but the way they put it into the editing system and they use color correction and work with it, with the music and all that stuff, it works. It is terrifying. Some of these creatures that he creates, James, they will give me fucking nightmares. Thank you. I appreciate it. But that's the whole point, is to creep you out, and he does just that with the special effects. I love the way all of his demons and creatures look and stuff. He's almost got like the same aesthetic as like a Guillermo del Toro almost, where like they're really good at using practical effects and stuff, and I really got to appreciate that. So besides that one story element that kind of irked me a little bit because it didn't really make any sense and it didn't really matter, this is an awesome sequel. This is a great follow-up to The Conjuring. It is scary. It is terrifying. It is shot beautifully and disturbing at the same time. James Wan's direction shows you that he really cares about this genre, and he really tries to make these horror classics that will probably go down as classics as the years pass. He does another one in my book. He can't do any wrong. I'm a huge fan of him, have been for 12 years, and will continue to watch more of his movies. I loved The Conjuring 2. I'm going to give The Conjuring 2 a solid A. It is awesome. If you really like the first one, go check it out. If you don't like horror films, don't go see this because you will not like this. But if you do like the first Conjuring or James Wan's other works, I highly recommend this one, especially in a theater, to really get that surround sound and creep you the fuck out. So what did you guys think of The Conjuring 2? Have you even heard of it? Comment in the place around my face and let me know. Did you like the first one? Did you hate the first one? All that stuff, let me know down below. That will do it for the reviews, guys. Thank you for tuning in all the way up until this point. I have one more section to do, and that would be the box office results. Now, The Conjuring 2, Warcraft, and Now You See Me 2 battled it out at the box office. And then you're probably thinking, well, where's your review for Now You See Me 2? I didn't see the first one, so I don't really care. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see the numbers for this fact. I have not checked the numbers yet. I know. It's just kind of weird, guys. But usually when I do this show, I look up at the numbers so I can get kind of a feel of how I'm going to say everything when I do it. No, I pulled up the tab. It's right here on my computer screen. Have not looked at it. I clicked on boxofficemojo.com. I switched over to the other tab so I wouldn't see anything. So these numbers are going to be new to me. I don't know what was number 1. I don't know what was number 5, 3, 2, or 4. I don't know how much anything made. This is going to be a surprise. Here we go. Live reaction to the box office results, and let's go. Box office results, top 5. Okay, that's respectable. Okay. So number 5 is X-Men Apocalypse with 10 million. Right now, domestically, it's at 136, and worldwide, it's almost hitting 500. It's at 478 right now, on a budget of 178, which means you got double that and stuff because, theaters got to take their cut and you got to add marketing and stuff. So I think if you double that, what is that, like 356? You got to break even. So and then let's say another 20 to 40 million for marketing. So the fact that they made almost $100 million profit, that's pretty good. Not as good as Days of Future Past. Let me pull that up real fast. Days of Future Past made almost 750 million worldwide. So it's still a lot of ways off and stuff, but overall, I still think it's very good. And I really liked Apocalypse quite a bit, so glad to see it still climbing. Number 4 is the number 1 from last week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. With 14.8 million. Right now, domestically, which is the U.S. and Canada, it's at 61, and worldwide, it's at 116 on a 135 budget, which needs to make about 270 to break even. But with marketing, I'm gonna say 300. The fact that it hasn't even reached half of that's kind of scary. I haven't seen it. Don't really want to see. I did like the first one a lot. I thought it was enjoyable, but whatever. All right. So the top 3 are the 3 that came out. So number 3, Now You See Me 2 with 23 million. I'm actually surprised it made that much. I thought it was going to make like 10. Domestically 23, worldwide 45, and the budget is unknown. Okay. Let me look up the the first one real fast. Okay. Yeah, the first one actually made 117 domestically and 351 worldwide on a $75 million budget. That's pretty damn good. But the second one looks like it's not going to do so well. So, excuse me. Number 2, edging it out just by like $1.3 million is Warcraft with 24.3 million. Right now, domestically 24, but worldwide, it's not doing that bad. It's got $286 million worldwide. It's not terrible, but its budget is 160. You got double that. Was that 320? And then with marketing, I'm going to say about 340 maybe to break even. It's actually almost there. Like, believe it or not, Warcraft is actually doing very well overseas, like in China and shit, but it's not doing well here. So it's going to make most of its money back overseas. Definitely not here. Because like I said, I'm not going to see it again, so I'm not going to give any more money to it. But I know there are people out there that liked it. Number 1, I'm stoked to say The Conjuring 2 with $40 million. Dude, James Wan, man, like he's one of the best. And this is why he's one of the best, because he makes relatively like cheaper horror films, and they're kind of like in the like that medium kind of budget ballpark, and he knocks it out of the park every single time. Guys, listen, the budget was $40 million. It needs to make about 80. I'm going to say 85 with marketing, because there wasn't that much marketing to it. It's opening weekend. Domestic, 40. Worldwide, 90. It's already broken even and maybe just made like a tiny bit of profit right now. And that's his first weekend. It's going to do just fine in its long run, so that's fucking awesome. Let me see how much of a dip the first one was. That's so crazy when you look at James Wan's thing, his filmography. Saw, Dead Silence, Death Sentence, Insidious, Conjuring, Insidious 2, Furious 7, Conjuring 2. I've seen all of his movies. It's one of the few directors where I go, yeah, I've seen all the ones he's directed. So let's check the first Conjuring. What was its opening weekend? Its opening weekend, oh, okay, it was 41. So it actually opened up on par with the first one. That's actually pretty good, actually. Typically, movie studios and stuff want to see, it go up with the sequel, but the fact that it's still the same, that's actually not bad, because usually sequels nowadays dip. So that's really awesome, actually. So, yeah, that's your top 5 for the weekend, guys. I'm really excited that Conjuring 2 was up there, number 1. Warcraft made more than I thought. Same with Now You See Me Too, but whatever. It's a movie for everyone. So that will do it for this week's episode, guys. Next week, looking at the list right now, we have Finding Dory coming out, so I will definitely have a review of that. And I think Swiss Army Man comes out June 17th or June 24th. I forgot. If it's next weekend, I'll try to catch that one. If not, I'll do Finding Dory and I'll do Central Intelligence. I really don't want to do Central Intelligence, but if I have to do 2 movies, I will do that for sure. And I guess, might as well, let's finish out June. And then the following week, I will do Free State of Jones, Independence Day, and maybe The Neon Demon and Swiss Army. That one's going to be a busy weekend regardless. So, but as far as next weekend, Finding Dory for sure. That will be the for sure review. If I can't make Central Intelligence, because I'm going to be so motivated to go see it, then you will get just Finding Dory. But if I see Central Intelligence, I'll see that as well. Or maybe like a independent films coming out, I'll mix up or something. You guys know the drill. I'll think of something. So that will do it, guys. Reel Me In, a movie podcast. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you're a continuing listener or watcher, or if you're a new person, just thank you for listening and stuff. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @RealChaseLee. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Follow on Spreaker. All that stuff is down in the links below. This has been episode 133. I can't even just stress you guys how much I appreciate you guys listening and watching every single week. Spread this podcast around and tell everyone that this is the definitive podcast. What the hell are you doing listening to everything else? this is the one. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next week for episode 134. And hey, if you made it through this entire podcast and you were not a movie fan, hopefully I convinced you to be one. I'm Chase Lee, guys, and I will see you next week. Have a good week, good weekend. Go see some movies. Go see The Conjuring 2 if you like horror films. Stay away from Warcraft. Don't touch it with the 10-foot pole. I'm warning you, it's got herpes. The intro and outro music is done by my friends band Forever Rose. Check them out. Let's play that shit right now. Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye. Warcraft can suck my balls. All right, see you guys later.